Write like a man. Use a typewriter.
Subplots
Yeah.
and revisions.
Yeah. So have you ever, in the process of writing or revising or rewriting, have you ever decided, I need to add a subplot to flesh this story out more, or I need to remove plot elements to streamline the story? Have you ever had to make any dramatic changes like that in order to bring the vision to fruition?
Well, if you recall, when I was writing book 5, I just had to completely start over. But the first 3 or 4
Oh, that's
chapters,
right.
the first 3 or 4 chapters remained the same.
Yeah.
But there was a huge change in plot. I have hinted at backstories that ended up becoming their own stories, their own books.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there are subplots.
Yeah.
But not a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of subplots.
Yeah.
There are, in my books, there are usually maybe 2. I kind of go back and forth between 2 main plots. It's usually there's like what the good guy's doing and what the bad guy's doing.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And you go
Luke
back and
Vader.
forth, right? And then they,
Yeah.
cross paths and they have conflict and all those things. But they
Uh-huh.
have their own. They each have their own backstories and they each have their own plot. But it's all still part of the one great event.
Yeah.
That is that particular story. But no, I haven't seen a need to take out any subplots
That's good.
because I didn't heavily layer multiple subplots into,
Yeah.
a middle grade fantasy series.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever had to did you ever feel a need to flesh anything out more with any sort of subplots or side chapters or side characters?
Yeah, in the young adult paranormal or urban fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I needed to come up with some subplot for his death angel best friend.
Oh, that's right.
I had to
Yeah.
kind of weave some of that in there.
Yeah.
Which would make a great like backstory or a continuation of
Uh-huh.
the current story, but I did have to add a little bit in there.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
How far into the process did you realize that was needed?
At the moment, I decided that this character was actually going to be an angel of death.
So
And I had to go back and change some things.
right. So are we talking like 50 pages in, 100 pages in?
I
200
don't
pages
know.
in?
Yeah, I mean,
A third of the way into the story?
I would say probably maybe a quarter of the way into the story.
That's not too bad.
Friends come along during that part of the story. You're in Act 1.
Yeah.
Best friend comes along.
You're still
And
in that
then as I'm
Mos
writing the
Eisley
best
phase.
friend, and I had the whole thing plotted out. I'm like, and I had a death angel in the plot,
Oh yeah.
in the story structure.
Really?
I'm like, but it'd be so much cooler if this guy who's his one and only friend
Yeah.
ends up being the death angel. But I had to kind of fill that subplot in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I did go back just a little bit to tweak some things to make you start to wonder and then reveal it later on. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Fritz is the death angel. And he's hilarious.
It's one of the best additions to the story, too.
I think so.
I kind of, honestly, it's kind of my favorite part of Henry Half.
Really?
I think so. Like, first, I mean, maybe part of that is just like being on the back end and, behind the scenes with Nick, watching Nick go through that process, and talking about it. Watching his excitement is kind of infectious, but like, it's just a cool part of the story that you don't really expect. You kind of expect, you expect the professor, to be, super knowledgeable of all these occult things and kind of your Obi-Wan Kenobi through this world.
Mhm.
You kind of expect that, the bad guys are bad and and the kid has got like some pretty tough stuff ahead of him, but you don't really expect like the R2 character to be, the Han Solo character in a weird way.
Yeah.
It's a cool.
I appreciate that.
But it's not subversive and it doesn't feel shoehorned. It just it feels organic. But thankfully, you came to that realization like a quarter of the way in, so you were able to kind of go back.
I knew where I wanted to go with it
Yeah.
at that point.
Have you ever gotten too deep into a story or a project and wish that you had done it a different way and been
That's a
unable
great
to?
question. Oh man. Yes, for sure. But I mean, too deep into a story, into one of, a middle grade, a
Yeah.
short story isn't deep into anything. It's easy to go back and rewrite and change or even write the whole thing over again. But yeah, I've done that. I mean, certainly with, book 5, I got 2/3 of the way through the story.
Oh wow.
And just felt stuck and I didn't like where it was going. I went back and, as you know, rewrote the whole thing.
That's tough, man. It takes some guts to do that, because it's like, if you've ever written anything substantial, like, man, after 80 or 100 pages, that's a real investment.
Yeah.
And it really is like just lighting money on fire.
Yeah.
It really feels like. Yeah, it feels like a real loss of your investment, because it is. I mean, even if the material sucks,
every one of those mornings sitting in Starbucks at 5 a.m.
Right.
Every one of those mornings for nothing.
Yeah.
For no reason.
You feel
all
like
that sleep I could have had.
All the time I could have been spent doing anything else. Yeah. I mean, that really is kind of the shame of it. That's one reason I've always had such a hard time doing it. I almost don't really do rewrites, because it's just, I almost just like am one and done kind of deal. But part of it is my own weakness, that like it's just too bitter of a tonic to drink, to go back and do a torch and burn up on your whole project and start over from scratch. I've done it. I did it with Empyrean Falling, and it needed to be done. It was the only way to get that series off the ground, was to blow the rocket up and start over.
Yeah.
But I don't. You always say, like, you don't know if you could do that again. You can. You can always do it again if you have to. But God help you if you do, and hopefully you don't. Because it just. But that's tough, man. I mean, and that actually speaks a lot to Nick's discipline, and his maturity level as a writer, and maybe that's part of the reason.
As a new writer.
Oh yeah, but well, and yeah, maybe that sort of segues into what I was gonna mention is, you talk a lot about, like, why did I start this in my 40s? Is there a reason why? Maybe there is. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. Maybe if you had started this in your 20s or 30s, you wouldn't have had the maturity level to be like, you know what, I'm 2/3 of the way into this book, and this is wrong, and I need to go back and I need to start over.
It was hard.
You maybe would have kept plowing through and had some sort of an abomination on your hands.
Yeah, possibly. Well, and I felt like that when I finished Easel Bancroft.
Yeah.
And I thought, I have to go back and rewrite the ending of it, because the way it ends, it doesn't. It's almost like I had this idea in my head of what I wanted this story to be, and when I wrote the ending, I thought, this has no value.
Really?
As a story. Like, I'm not trying to tell anybody a story that ends in any meaningful way.
Oh yeah.
There was no resolution for the shortcomings of the main character, and I'm like, I gotta change this, and I'm in the middle of that right now, trying to rewrite that.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. It's a short story. It's no big deal, but it was a fun distraction that didn't end the way I was thinking it would.
Off kilter.
It really did.
Yeah.
But
it's
and I would never publish it. I do not see myself publishing this book, but I think it's a fun short story.
Yeah.
With the right ending, it's a great short story.
Yeah. You think it's publishable with the right ending?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'd charge maybe like $3 for it.
Yeah. Is it like
in print?
Is it like a novella?
It's shorter than a novella. It's a short story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? In a lot of ways, short stories can be the hardest things to produce, because you are kind of under a cap, a word count cap, a page cap. And so that determines your pace. and your pace determines your level of detail.
I might submit it to
And-
like some competition, short story
That's a
competition.
good idea.
You know?
But you know what? Even doing something where you redo the ending, even if it's the third act, as daunting or laborious or draining as that might be, it's also revitalizing because you're where you're supposed to be doing the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You're working there's nothing worse than working in a place where you're not supposed to be, as a man. Like it just, you know what I mean? Like you're just working on a job that is a waste of your time and energy.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad necessarily, but just it's not where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's see. What does Adam say?
Adam says, I have done the same with narration. Got several chapters in.
And gone, nope. Don't like how I'm doing this, and start again.
Yep.
Yeah. Adam. Oh,
yeah,
buddy. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. With Adam's case, it's hearing his own voice.
Yeah.
And with me, it's like reading my own thoughts.
Yeah.
But now I'm in this great phase where I'm reading my own thoughts and I hear Adam's voice reading my thoughts.
I know.
It's so great.
Yeah,
which is why
Adam has burrowed into our head.
Yeah. Oh, which is why like this book that I'm working on right now, it's not one of the Travelers League books, but The Last Unicorn Hunter.
Yeah.
I can hear him doing some of the voices.
Ah, it's cool.
Yeah. It'll be fun to get his thoughts on it.
I know. It's Adam. Adam? Are there any characters or specific like things as far as either the Heavenly Realms or Travelers League that are examples of that where you've realized like, oh no, I need to go back? I'd be interested. Let's see.
Adam asked if I've heard his rendition of Sentinel. So Adam is the voice of the Travelers League's books 3 through the end, but the first 2 I had narrated by someone else because I didn't know Adam at the time.
Yeah, we didn't have Adam yet.
So I have engaged Adam to read the Timepiece and Brax's Escape, books 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And he's going to put those on YouTube, on his YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
In his voice. So he has officially covered the entire Travelers League series. And I haven't reviewed all the audio. I've only reviewed the first like 2 chapters.
Yeah.
But he does one of the characters that I'm really, really excited about. It's the Minotaur who guards the labyrinth.
Oh, it's one of my favorite characters. Yeah.
The Sentinel.
Yeah, the Sentinel. Dude, and he's so awesome.
Adam is really, he's hinted at his excitement of this character.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's an Adam character if ever there was.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Adam, who do you think would win in a fight, the Sentinel or Mazarel? I'll leave that for you to decide. Yeah. No, he says Tempest. He went back and redid after listening back to it. Yeah, and Adam, poor Adam, man. He
didn't he use like a harsh Scottish?
No, or that's Althaziel. He did a Scottish brogue for Althaziel. For Tempest, he did this very harsh rasp, this whispery sort of rasp that I can just hear the pain in Adam's throat whenever he's doing it. And so, like, I know that even though Tempest is a pretty quiet character, I know that when we get to the unabridged version of Empyrean Falling, there are more Tempest chapters.
Send him some lozenges.
Yeah. I'm going to be paying for...
Send him a sack of Ricolas.
Yeah, his... Adam's going to be Ricola across the UK. I'm going to have to pay for his ENT appointments. It's but it pays off. Like he did that, and I don't know what Tempest sounded like originally, but the finished version of Tempest is this very distinctive, very profound voice, and it also, the interesting thing is, I don't even know if Adam picked up on it or not, but Tempest, I mean, I make a bunch of references to it. Tempest is a very like serpentine, snake-like kind of character. He's just he's cold-blooded, he's detached, but he also has a bunch of scars around his mouth. And so that's part of the reason why he wears the face shroud, is to, conceal the scars. And it almost is like a physiological choice for Tempest, for Adam to give Tempest that that character's voice.
You know how we were talking about Old Duppy? Like Davy Jones?
Yeah.
Adam narrated that book, and he said that character was one which took several attempts to get right as well.
Oh, really?
And you have to know that this is the villain.
Yes.
It has to be deep. It has to be powerful.
Yeah.
And it has to be sinister.
Mm-hmm.
And to put all those things in, I mean, he nailed it. I didn't realize it took him several attempts to do it. That's awesome.
Adam's dedicated.
And then he said in the most recent book, the Hoppus Chronicles, the Frump Prince, which is one of the marsh trolls.
Oh yeah,
the prince who's actually a good guy. Like in all, the entire series, the marsh trolls are bad news.
Yeah,
they're a bad race of being.
Yeah,
and in this book, and it's because they're cursed.
Yeah, right.
So this book is a backstory to how they got cursed.
Mm-hmm.
And before they're cursed, they're not bad. And they had a prince. Yeah, a ruler that was really, really super kind, but he still was had a position of authority, but he was kind, and he's a troll, so he still had that gruff, and Adam absolutely nailed it.
Did he really?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah,
man.
it's great.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I love writing fantasy for kids. It's so fun, man.
It's so colorful.
So
you just get to indulge all those fun things, and you get to really take the governor off.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about is this going to be embarrassing?
Yeah.
Dude, a 9-year-old's going to love this.
I know. Well, the book I'm working on right now, The Last Unicorn Hunter, it truly was the brainchild of my daughter.
Oh yeah.
And then my son started weighing in as well.
Oh, cool.
And
it's a collaborative effort.
Oh yeah, it's the kids, dragons, unicorns. I know that sounds all very cliche.
Dude, kids love
but
it.
The way we weave that into all these different realms and how they interact with each other, and how it absolutely is counter to what you assume about those tropes.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not, the dragons are not what you expect them to be. The unicorns are not what you expect them to be.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and the kids and there's a battle between dragons and unicorns, like a war.
Yeah.
And it's not what you expect.
That's
and it's
cool.
And I'm kind of worried that it might not sell because no one's going to buy a book where unicorns are evil.
Right.
But they are
a bunch of snooty, uppity sort of.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to tell you about it. I'll tell you about it over dinner.
I've actually never Nick is really good at just sitting on things. I'm not good at sitting on things. I'm like, dude, I got this new idea. Let me tell you about it. And then I'll tell you about it every week for the next 6 months.
But I talk about it with my kids. I told my wife. I told other family over Thanksgiving. I'm like, oh, I'm really excited about this book. So I was telling my mom, and I was telling Alex, and So it's hard for me. I can't sit on things either. And I wish I could because I normally lose my enthusiasm or excitement about something after I've told someone about it. Oddly, but if I just keep it to myself and keep my mouth shut, I stay excited about it.
You could use
and the secret that I'm gonna drop on people gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
so funny. I need to just keep my mouth shut.